Hey there, it's E Squared Photography. I'm Erin.
And I'm Emily, and we are here to keep things simple and fun.
Maybe you have an extended family session that's coming up and you are feeling incredibly overwhelmed because that's a lot of people to deal with, a lot of personalities, possibly some young kids thrown at it. Well, we're here today to hopefully ease you through that process.
And make sure to stick around until the end because we have something that is going to help you.
And by the end of this video today, you will feel more confident going into your next extended family session.
And for the best photography tips and tricks, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell for notifications of future videos.
Okay, so our very first thing that we want to talk about when it comes to extended family sessions is the session length. Now, this really is a personal preference. However, our typical family sessions can range anywhere from 15 minutes if it's a mini session to 30 minutes if it's just, like a family of 5 or a family of 4. When it comes to extended family, we like to offer a 45 to a 60-minute session, and that's our typical session length. We find that that allows us enough time to get through everything that we're going to talk about today.
Now, when it comes to the time of day that we're doing these shoots, we are typically doing extended family sessions 1 to 2 hours before sunset because that's when the light is the most beautiful and softest for us.
So it's important to remember that there are certain things that do need to be done prior to the session. So something that we do prior to our session is we make sure we get to know the clients. And what we mean by that is we ask whoever booked the session to give us a list of all of the names of the people that are going to be there and the ages of the children. That's important for a lot of different reasons. When we are trying to direct people around and gather people over with that many people involved, we like to have a list of their names. We also like to have a list of the children's ages because we like to know ahead of time if we need to prep for anything specific when it comes to really little kids, bring a prop that's going to work for them, or if we're just going to be maybe dealing with adult children, we kind of can keep in mind some ideas of posing when it comes to that as well. So other things to think about when it comes to before the session, what do you need to bring? Do you need to bring a blanket? Do you have a lot of people? Maybe you need to bring some chairs or stools or bench or something like that. So keep those things in mind before the session.
And one other thing we ask our families, especially these extended families, we ask them what they're looking for. So what kind of combinations they're looking for at the session, because if they don't put one in there that maybe they don't want, we're not going to waste our time doing that shot for them because they don't want it. Or if there's one very specific one where they want grandma with so-and-so, then we know to do that and we have that ready and prepared. Okay, so let's talk about our posing workflow for these extended family sessions. Now, keep in mind that this workflow does not always work because sometimes you have children who are not going to cooperate, so you have to kind of improvise and just go with the flow. But typically, this is what it's going to look like for us.
With extended family sessions, we do try and keep these pretty traditional as far as the posing goes, and you'll see what we mean when we go through it in just a second.
Okay, so the very first pose we put the family in is we put everybody that is there together. So the entire family, we are putting them together. And we typically do 2 poses. We like to do one where we have everybody standing and then one where we have some people sitting. Now, depending on the size, you might need to do 2 different sitting poses so you don't have too many people standing or whatever it might be. But we like to give them a variety of about 2 different poses with the entire group.
So something else to keep in mind when it comes to extended family is the reason that we start with this whole group shot is because usually that's why they book the session to begin with. They do want that shot with everybody in it. However, we do understand that that doesn't always work. People arrive late, being that there's so many people involved with it. And so if that is the case and everyone's not there on time because we are on a timeline of the session time that we are offering them, we do start with other breakouts just to get those going, but then eventually get to that whole group shot.
Okay, so just an example of an extended family session we did here. So in this one, we have a couple chairs and the great grandmas are sitting down. And everybody is standing near them. And then in this one, we have everybody standing up. So just giving a little bit of variety as far as having one sitting and one standing within those extended family poses. or a couple different sitting ideas where we have different placements of people.
Something that we always try to do, especially with these larger group shots that might be put on the wall somewhere in grandma's house or wherever it might be, is when we are actually shooting, we leave plenty of room for cropping, because in the end, if we didn't leave enough room for cropping, it's going to cut a head off, a foot off, an arm off, a person off on the side. So we leave plenty of space around the group.
So once we've done the entire group, we then typically move into the grandparents with the grandkids. And sometimes this can get a little tricky because some of the kids are young, they don't want to cooperate, they only want to be by their mom and dad or whatever it might be. So we just get as much as we possibly can with this. And now typically when we're doing grandma and grandpa with the grandkids, we're typically trying to do about, again, 2 different poses just to give them a little bit of variety, and maybe one will look better than the other or whatever it might be. Here are some examples of one session we did. So one, we have grandma and grandpa just standing with them, grandma and grandpa sitting with them, and then if they're able to, if you can get it to work, to have grandma and grandpa walk with them. Sometimes those are some of our very favorites for grandma and grandpa with grandkids.
And then while we have the grandkids all together, we attempt, but again, this isn't always perfect and doesn't always work this way, but we attempt to then just get the grandkids themselves. So you can see here some other ways of doing it. You can have them sit, especially if they're already sitting down with grandma and grandpa. You can say, grandma and grandpa, I need you to get out of the picture now, and just have the grandkids. You can also have them walk if they're big enough and that works for them. And something fun, if you really need to kind of get them going or they're just not having the pictures today, you can have them play a little game like Ring Around the Rosie. And comment below and let us know what scares you most about working with extended families.
Okay, so we've done the full group. We've done grandma and grandpa with the grandkids. We've done just the grandkids together. Now we are going to quickly do a picture or a couple of pictures of just grandma and grandpa. These are pictures that I think a lot of times they don't think that they want, but in the end, they absolutely love having these. So just a couple examples here, just a standing pose and then a walking pose. That is really all we typically do. You don't have to do a ton, but just quick put that in there because that really can add to the gallery.
And then sometimes, and this is usually if we have time for it or if they specifically request it, but usually this is the time then we will do the original family. And so what we mean by the original family is we mean like grandma and grandpa with their own adult children. And then sometimes we'll actually add in the spouses of that. So it's grandma and grandpa with their children and their children's spouses.
Now, after we've done all of that, we then break into individual families. So whether there's 2, 3, 4, whatever it might be, individual families, we're going to break into those. So grandma and grandpa at this point are basically done, and we're moving into basically little family mini shoots. So with this, here's kind of the flow we go with each family. So first of all, we're taking the family that has the children that are cooperating the most at this time. Okay, so when we're doing this, we are always starting with a standing pose with the small family, and then we're going to do a walking pose and a sitting pose. Now within those stand, sit, and walking poses, we can vary up where they're looking. We can have them tickle or whatever it might be, but we're doing these pretty darn quick, and we're just thinking in our head, sit, stand, walk. We've got to get all of those in for each individual family.
And remember, grandma and grandpa might be done, but they are excellent sources to stand behind the camera, direct them exactly where to stand, and tell them that they can help make the little ones smile. And then after we do the full individual family for that specific family, we will do it of just the kids. And again, with that, we'll have them stand, walk, sit, as much as we kind of are feeling that we have time for. And then we go into actual individuals of each kid. Again, if we have time, we will do our best to attempt to get this. It might be 1 pose, it might be 3 poses of each individual kid. Again, depending on how many you're working with at the session too. So again, as far as individual poses, you can have them sit, squat, lay, stand, whatever it might be.
And then sometimes while we're doing each mini family, we'll do a quick picture of just mom and dad like we did of just grandma and grandpa.
And once we've gotten through all of that, again, we are judging a lot on how the children are behaving, especially if they're little. We will just ask them, is there anything else that you would want? And usually they say no, or they come up with some silly request and we just quick do that.
And then if we do have time left, let's say there's 10 minutes left, we might do some fun poses that we kind of have in our back pockets. Maybe like a blanket shot where we're having Grandma and Grandpa hold the blanket and all the grandkids run underneath like it's a tunnel. We like to put in a fun one here and there if we do have time at the very end. All right, so hopefully this was super helpful in helping you prepare for your first or next extended family photo shoot. Now, if you are new to posing in families and photography, we do in the description below have a free family posing guide that can really help you out to help simplify your posing. So make sure to check that out.
And if you enjoyed this video today, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with a friend so we know to make more videos just like this one.
And if you don't already, follow us on Instagram at e2photography, and we will see you next time.